Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Talk Tonight. Today, we have a very special episode. We'll be covering sustainability, and more specifically, Planting the Seed, an interstitial filmed for our grad screening, which is April 16th, and general admission tickets are available now. Today, we are joined by Liv, the writer of the interstitial Planting the Seed, as well as the connective tissue between sustainability and us students, and everyone's favorite teacher, Robyn. Also, if you've been watching every episode, this is the aforementioned Robyn who acted in Mother Nature. So just to start, do you guys want to just talk about sustainability a bit and then how it ties into this interstitial?
Yeah, myself and Joseph, and Felipe was our director of photography. The three of us really brought this to life all together between all of us. But yeah, so Joseph and I had written the idea for the project for the primarily documentary, and they directed it. I was able to produce, and then together we collaboratively edited. And luckily, we had the oversight of some amazing supervising faculty like Robyn and Andrew.
Right. Shout out Andrew, too.
Yeah. Big time shout out to Andrew. He was instrumental in getting it off the ground and overseeing the whole project. So yeah, it was definitely a team effort.
Well, just speaking on that, I know from when I was a kid, when teachers would try to talk to us about reduce, reuse, recycle in the classroom, or just in life, not just in film, it's hard to get people to care about that in general. So what was it like to try to get a whole program of students on board with that?
Yeah, it's not easy, and it was something that progressed over time, I think. So it started with me just introing a really basic lecture to first-year students, and Justin, I had you in first year, you saw that lecture, and I was really hopeful just to bring it to the conversation. At the time, I wasn't full-time, I was on contract, so that felt like the only thing I could do was bring this content. And then when I was brought on full-time, I went to Andrew and I said, hey, I have all these ideas around implementing sustainable production. How do you feel? And he had been obviously teaching a lot longer than I had, and I wasn't sure, how he would react, but he was so supportive. He said, absolutely, what are your ideas? Let's go for it. He was just really helped me out with finding the time to do these things as well. And then when I started to sort of introduce more of the workflow to the students, I think I brought, hopefully, a lot of passion to it, because I do think there's a difference between, any professor or teacher standing in front of you saying, this is what you should do and this is why, versus I really care about this and you should too and this is why. And I hope that because I cared so much and I brought so much genuine passion to it, that rubbed off on some people. And then as the months went on, it just felt like more and more people were caring and seeing the benefits to what they were doing, and, financial benefits and workflow benefits. There's so much to it. And now we have the year group below you who is stepping up to the plate, and they did an amazing job this semester with their sustainability initiatives. So really, it's just been this kind of snowball effect. So I don't want to take all the credit, because it was definitely it was the students that set the examples for each other.
The opening reframes filmmaking as something that costs, and it's not just magical. What shifted this perspective?
Yeah, I think that as filmmakers, and in this case, particularly as student filmmakers, when we think about what goes into a film and what we can get out of it, we largely look at the costs associated in producing those films and what budget we can work within. And so with that, we're not typically thinking beyond the immediate costs and looking further into what are the environmental costs, what are the long-term costs. So for myself, and speaking on behalf of myself and Joseph, I think the concept really came from trying to start off the project or start off the film, speaking on the overarching issue and really what are the global impacts of how we operate in film.
Robyn, why is it important to introduce sustainability on the student level before we're in the industry?
So I think, anyone going into any education program, you're going because you're trying to train for an industry. And so that's no different with film. our industry, and I think a lot of people even in the industry are just now starting to realize the impact of it, the environmental impact. So if we are really training you to enter this industry, then sustainability has to be part of the conversation. It is a huge carbon footprint that's left behind after every single production. And now it's becoming not necessarily a nice to have, but a baseline expectation that your production is going to take into account some kind of sustainable production practices. So by sending you out into industry without sustainable production training, we'd be doing you a disservice. We want you to go out there and be competitive and understand the way workflows are changing and be part of that next generation of filmmaker that's going to be doing things through this new sustainability lens.
So not just having a basic understanding of sustainability, but being actively or being an active participant in it, you would say that we're much more hireable leaving the school in the industry than had we not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you absolutely are. And this is something that I really tried to make clear to students is that this will make you a more competitive hire because we are now seeing all of these regulations coming in. You know, telefilm has specific requirements that need to be met in the sustainability space. When you're applying to other funders, they want to know what practices you're implementing for sustainable production. So this is very much becoming the expectation and the way that major productions are operating.
In every single department of film.
Exactly. Regardless of which department you're in, you're part of the solution.
What were some major setbacks and challenges in putting this interstitial together?
I love this question because as much as we like to think about the positives of getting a crew involved and getting students involved in the conversation around sustainability. Of course, like we've talked about now, there's a lot of pushback at the start. I think that whenever you're trying to create a movement towards something, there always will be. But I will say that this is one of my favorite questions because when we look at the challenges, there's actually a really positive outcome from that. So at the beginning of this long process, which we started filming for our first portion of this film back in October, and we only wrapped in March. So it's something that really spanned across both of semesters. And we started with a crew of 5 people going to our first interview to film. And in our last day of filming, I think we had something like 20 students who were involved, if not more. And so we were able to watch firsthand how the challenge of getting students involved in not only the conversation, but wanting to be a part of creating that movement, how that evolved over time with more people's excitement over the project as a whole. So I think that it's great when you can look at a challenge that we once had and see how far it's come since then.
Which was just the general care or interest in it, right?
Yeah.
And every production already has setbacks, or not every, but a lot or most productions have setbacks. So you had the added stress of just having people in general
Want to be a part of it.
let alone production setbacks or
Yeah.
challenges, right? That's, so just, speaking, because you were just saying it's like a call to action. Did you approach this more as a story, a manifesto, or a call to action specifically, or was it a mix of all of them?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a mix of all of them. When Robyn and I had first spoken last year about the concept of the topic of sustainability being the interstitial for our grad screening, it was really with the intention of how do we document all of the initiatives that our supervising faculty are putting into place in the program and that the students are now taking and running with. How do we document that, share it, and then also use it as something to educate and inspire? So aside from planting the seed being a portion of, or what will be an interstitial for our screening, it's only about a third in its entirety of the full length. And so this will become a full-length documentary that will be used as a tool to then educate the next year of students that come into the program to kind of set the precedence of...
Will it just be for student purposes, or can we watch it online? Is there somewhere we'll be able to find it?
Absolutely.
Or viewers?
Yeah, I hope it's not just for students. I mean, I think, like I said, it's not only a call to action for student filmmakers, but filmmakers in general. And I would love to see this go further than Humber. But yeah, really, really using that to set the precedence of this is how we should be operating. And and you should too.
What does it actually mean for a Humber production to be Green Seal certified?
Okay, so the Green Film School Alliance, Olivia is an ambassador, one of our ambassadors for the GFSA, in collaboration with the Environmental Media Association, developed this checklist, and they call it the Peachy. So ultimately, this is a checklist that was created specifically for student filmmakers. And what will happen is that the team will get together in pre-production. In our case, we had sustainability coordinators that were designated to do this. They'll go through the checklist, which has a bunch of practices, and it's departmental. So in craft and catering, what can you do to be more sustainable? In production design, what can you do? And every practice is connected to a point or points. So that will be laid out in pre-production as a plan. Ideally, every single department has been brought into the conversation before you even film. And then after production, the sustainability coordinator will revisit this document, and they will tally all of the points that they got. It will be looked over and signed off on by supervising faculty, and then that document will be sent to the Environmental Media Association for approval. And if they get a total of 50 points or more, they're eligible for a green seal. So the EMA will send it back.
Is it like a score out of 100, or it's just the baseline
It is a score out of
50
100. Or is it? Yeah, it's 100. So you need to attain those 50 points,
What is
which
the highest
I love.
you've seen?
Oh, I love this question because the highest I've seen just happened, and it was with our current second years. I saw 85 points recently, and that was 85, and that's the highest I've seen. Yes, it was incredible. And so once that's submitted, they will receive an official certificate with the laurel saying that this production is now Green Seal certified.
I know at the beginning of the year, you wanted all of our productions to be Green Seal. Now, we can cut this if the answer is no, but
I actually don't know what the answer
were
is.
all of our films Green Seal certified?
So the process is
underway.
Yeah, it unfortunately it takes a little bit longer than we would hope to be able to announce at this point in the term. So yeah,
But my understanding is that it looks good.
Yeah, it's not a no. So okay. And just our final question, because we're running out of time. This one's for both of you. What do you want the main takeaway to be after watching this interstitial?
I think for myself, I think the main takeaway would be that sustainability is not the responsibility of one or just the leaders on a production. It's everyone's responsibility. And that, again, I think that making us all more educated on the topic starts at the education level and through word of mouth. So getting yourself involved, spreading the messages, not only through what we can be doing behind the scenes, but also incorporating those messages in our media because of how much of an impact that makes.
And liking and sharing this episode. That's a good step too. Robyn?
I would say, I love that answer. And so I guess to add to that, I would say that I hope the main takeaway is that sustainability is attainable, because there is sort of still a misconception that, oh, it's going to be so much extra work, it's going to cost more money, it's going to be this and that. But that's just not the case. In most cases, we actually see that sustainability efforts save money, and we saw a lot of this. We saw a lot more resource sharing going on. There was a lot less waste. There was more communication. Just overall, the whole workflow seemed to be better. I also saw just in the students an increase in creative problem solving and resourcefulness through their sustainability efforts. So if students can do this, then to me, everyone can do this, right? And that's not to say, we have a low bar for students. It's just to say that you're setting you're the emerging talent, you're the emerging filmmakers. So we have to believe in our future up-and-comers, the next generation of filmmakers. And I just want everyone that watches it to see the incredible work, to feel inspired, and to know oh, hey, yeah, I can do this. We can make our production sustainable.
And to plant the seed.
Exactly.
I'm going to steal your line.
But it's not just that we are doing it. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. You can see this interstitial, as well as all the other PSAs and capstones that the third year graduating Humber students filmed at Hot Docs Ted Rogers Cinema on April 16th. Thank you.